Traders, stop overreacting to price breakouts and plan your trade and trade your plan, because Bitcoin is moving in a way that feels slow and uncomfortable. But that's usually where the most important moves begin. Higher time frame structure is still intact. Weekly levels are lining up perfectly, and lower time frames are breaking out of consolidation. But before we get into the charts, though, let's look at what's happening on the macro side, because it explains why this price action looks the way it looks. Let's go! First, something important from a global perspective. India's central bank is now openly pushing CBDCs over stablecoins, saying they better protect financial stability. Whether you like CBDCs or not, this tells us one thing very clearly. Governments are accelerating their move toward their own cryptocurrency. At the same time, legacy finance is warming up to Bitcoin. Charles Schwab explained regulatory changes removed capital rules that made spot cryptocurrency offerings impossible for firms like theirs. Let's take a listen.
Well, how do you get to spot crypto given the regulatory environment? What do you have to do? What do you need to hear from regulators for you to get comfortable with launching that?
I think there's a very clear path for firms like us to be able to launch crypto. There was a rule called SAB 131. What that rule did is it mandated that for every dollar of client crypto assets, we had to hold capital against that. Of course, client equities and client fixed income assets, we don't have to hold any capital against. But because people were particularly worried about crypto, as a bank holding company, we would have had to hold capital against it. That made it impossible.
Okay. I'm listening. No, this is good. Great info, man. Great info. This is no fake guru, people. This is one of the largest financial institutions in the world acknowledging Bitcoin's macro role in this game. And on the stablecoin side, the narrative is shifting as well. Wormhole is backing Ripple's bank-grade stablecoin strategy, highlighting that regulated, institution-friendly stablecoins are likely the future. Ripple's RLUSD is now under the New York Department of Financial Services and approved by the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. Wow! So, when price action feels slow, governments are developing their own stablecoins. Institutions are preparing for policy shifts, and regulated crypto infrastructure continues to expand. Now, let's see how that macro backdrop aligns with the charts, shall we? Starting with the monthly chart, Bitcoin's long-term trend line is still intact. Even if price were to pull back from here, there's strong monthly support sitting below. But right now, the key takeaway is momentum. The bullish momentum still looks healthy, and the higher time frame structure continues to be intact. As long as this trend line holds, the broader bull structure is still in play. Remember, markets do what they want to do when they want to do it. If this pulls back and tests monthly support, as long as that support does not break, this is a bullish argument, which means that's going to be a very attractive buying opportunity if the market offers that opportunity. Because as long as this support is not compromised, there is a very, very weak bearish argument for Bitcoin. On the weekly time frame, Bitcoin is touching its trend line for the third time. Third touches on clean trend lines often lead to strong trend moves. Based on historical structure, a 50% push from this zone would not be surprising. This doesn't mean it happens overnight, but it does mean that this is a very important area. As you can also see, Bitcoin has a lot of potential over the next quarter. If 95K is cleared, then the 100K area is the next resistance. These markets don't move in straight lines. It's likely to reject that resistance before breaking through. Understand that resistance was a previous support. On the daily, Bitcoin has broken out, as you can see here, but the strength behind the move is still relatively low. That usually tells us that this isn't emotional buying, it's accumulation. Price continues to grind higher while momentum stays muted. That's often how strong moves are built. Quietly, not explosively. Now, you can tell that by the size of these candles here. They're all about the same size. You don't see one large expansion type of candle. That's how you can tell this is a slow grind. Also, it's working its way up to that 95K level. On the 4-hour, Bitcoin has now broken out of this consolidation. This is the transition from compression into a decision phase. From here, we watch whether price holds above the breakout or pulls back to retest and continue. Either way, the consolidation has been resolved, and expansion usually follows. As you can see, there are two potential scenarios here. It is always a good idea to keep both sides in mind. Now, if price pulls back into this consolidation, keep in mind these types of formations, because of the price action balance, tend to act as support or resistance. So in this case, I would be looking for a support in this area and a potential bullish reversal and buying opportunity if price can retest such an area. Looking at Ethereum on the daily time frame, price is clearly moving toward a draw on liquidity above. You can see that here. This is an area where price naturally wants to go based on previous imbalance and structure. As long as Ethereum maintains a bullish bias, the expectation is for price to reach and clear that liquidity. The key price point for that liquidity zone is 34.50. So if price pushes above that number decisively and stays above, it increases the probability of testing this daily supply zone at 4,000, which is represented by this order block here. On the 4-hour, Ethereum is currently sustaining at a supply zone. From here, there are two clean scenarios. Price gets rejected and pulls back into support, or price gets absorbed and continues higher. Until we see confirmation, this is simply a decision area, not weakness. If price pulls back into this mid area here, this is a consolidation, and often midpoints of such consolidations act as a support or a resistance. In this case, it would be support. So something to keep in mind if there's a bullish reversal at such a location. So when we put everything together, Bitcoin, monthly trendline intact with healthy momentum. Weekly third touch on trendline, historically powerful. Daily breakout with quiet accumulation. 4-hour breakout from consolidation. Ethereum, daily draw on liquidity above. 4-hour maintaining a key supply zone. And on the macro side, governments accelerating CBDC frameworks. Institutions acknowledging Bitcoin's macro role. Regulated crypto infrastructure continues expansion. This isn't random price action. This is structure aligning with macro positioning. If you want to trade these levels yourself, I left my exchange links in the description. BTCC and WEX. Use them only if they help. They support the channel and give you access to the same tools. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your 2 cents. Do it. Do it now. Big moves don't start when everyone feels confident. They start when price is slow, structure is respected, and patience is tested. Right now, the charts and the macro are doing exactly that. Stay patient, respect the levels, and I'll see you in the next one.